Jobert Ocal, the online editor of the Freeman. Today we have invited 4 presidents of student councils or student governments from 4 schools in Cebu City, and we will be talking about topics that are very close to their hearts: leadership and, well, being a member of the most powerful generation, perhaps, the youth, the young generation, the millennial generation. And of course, this is still part of our Back to School project, initiated and produced by our interns from Cebu Normal University. So if you are watching us today, please feel free to join in the conversation, post your comments or questions if you have, and we can ask those questions to our guests today. So we'd like to welcome to the newsroom our 4 presidents from the University of San Carlos, from the University of San Jose Recoletos, St. Teresa's College, and Cebu Institute of Technology University. So I'd like to introduce them. First, we have left to right. From CITU, we have with us today Mark, how do you pronounce this? Mark Angel San Nicolas. Hello Mark, please say hi to our viewers.
Hi,
we also have from USJR, their president, we have Mark Roland Romas. We have quite a crowd here, Mark. And we have from USC, Diodatos Paulo Burgos. And the only lady today we have from St. Teresa's College, Marty De Castro. She's the president of their College Student Council. Thank you guys for dropping over, and we hope to have a very fruitful conversation today. This is going to be a very informal conversation, so please share your thoughts, whatever they are. We'll begin with this one. How did you get into student service, and what encouraged or motivated you to be part of the student government or the SSC?
Ladies first.
Ladies first. The number 1 rule in society, right? Ladies first. Okay.
Okay, so thank you very much for that question, sir. So first and foremost, hello everyone who's watching. So I think that the thing that not forced me to be in our student council, but I think the thing that pushed me and moved me to be part of the college student council is basically my passion to serve. Because as far as I can remember, since I was a little kid, maybe kindergarten or even in elementary or in high school, I was really the type who enjoyed being involved in a lot of things. I enjoyed organizing different things. I enjoyed being connected with other people. I enjoyed gathering their thoughts, gathering their opinions, and I just enjoyed accumulating all of these and giving them something that they would enjoy. So this would be my passion to service and my passion to be connected to other people, which really pushed me to be part of our student council.
Does that mean to say you have also been in the student councils in elementary or high school?
Yes, since I was in elementary, grade 6 and below, I was always the president of our classroom, not the council of our classroom.
Where was it?
I had my elementary days in Colegio de la Inmaculada Concepcion in Mandaue branch, and when I was in the 1st and 2nd grade, I studied in Saudi Arabia, so I was also the president in our classroom. So I was very little, and I was the president. And then back in high school, I enjoyed being a member, but even if I was in the president, I was the secretary. So I tried writing and collecting a lot of documents. So basically, I could be all around. I could be the one to lead. I can be the one to collect documents. I can write the minutes of the meeting.
You were everywhere.
Yes, I was everywhere. I could be flexible.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you, Marty. Let's go to Deo.
I think there are 2 points that I would like to point out. Like, number 1 is more onto the internal development of myself, being a poli-sci student. I think it is our obligation, since the society is our laboratory. So we need to really connect with people, deal with their thoughts and their actions. Like, say for example, their interests with regards to a particular issue or concern.
Very profound.
Yes, sir. In the University of San Carlos, there's no one or nothing forced me to be in the leadership side, but it's just that it is my choice, my deliberative choice, really, 100%, that to deal with the students and service, because way back in elementary also,
Yes.
I was also part of the SSG. I was the mayor. We call it as mayor.
Where was this?
In Mabolo Elementary School. I'm in public school at that time, elementary school. And so we had a meeting, or they convene us, all the mayors from the different elementary school, and I was elected as part of the ABC, or the Young ABC Association of Barangays. So I was the little barangay captain at that time for one day.
Okay, yeah.
And so I countersigned document also. And in high school, I was also a vice president, and I engaged myself in anti-corruption activities in ombudsman. So I was the vice president of the summer training program.
Visayas Ombudsman.
Yes,
Yes.
Visayas Ombudsman.
Where did you go to high school?
High school in University of Cebu
Okay.
and UC Maine. So kanang atbang sa like kilid sa Unitap. So,
Yes.
So ang aircon sa Unitap, amo ang mahigop. So yes, and then college, that's it. That's really my concern, na we deal with people, and so we are into it. It's not just in our obligation, but once you enter pol sci, then that should be your passion already.
Engagement.
Yes,
Okay.
not just you acquire knowledge, but you apply. That's one way of espousing the idea of OBE, outcomes-based education, that you learn and then you apply.
Good point. Yeah. We go back to that later. So we go to Mark from ESJR.
Basically, I think aside from the passion, the service, which I believe all leaders have, I think it's also destiny, because since I was elementary, I was high school, yes, I was into this kind of being active, being leading in a group. I just wonder, sir, every time there is groupings inside the classroom, they really point their fingers on me nga ako yung mag-leader. So I think it's really destiny. And unlike these two people here nga magsigi kada og election elementary and high school, way back elementary and high school, my alma mater, Bangkal Elementary School and Bangkal National High School in Lapu-Lapu City, I lost the elections. So after this,
You ran as what?
as president, and then I ran against my best friend, and my best friend won the election. And then, all right, so
That must have felt good and bad at the same time.
yes, I actually I cried somehow. Gamay, hila ko gamay, sir, kay my passion was there, my intention was there, and then I just prayed, and I really just my best friend told me that there's really something for me to go to sa nga nagatang, something better. So when I won in college elections, my high school teachers were really happy. They chat me nga ina imong gid time karon sa college. And then for me, sir, it's really destiny nga kanang also timing nga kanang na-adjust time nga gihatag para nimo to serve. But bisag dili kasama sa akong iba, so na sir, bisag wala ko nakadaog sa election sa SSG or any organizations, I did not stop to serve. My passion was still there. I've been active with various activities and organizations. I was a senior crew leader of our scouting unit in high school.
Okay.
And when I was in college, pagsud gyud ako sa college, ningon ko mapuyo na ko leadership. Di na ako mag-apil-apil, mag-academics ko, ma-focus ko kay crucial akong scholarship. But when I nagtungtong ko second year and third year, sir, mapaduol man jud, sir. Wa na jud choice, but
Yeah.
it's really not wa ko'y choice, but ganahan masagod ko, sir. Di ko may motang, sir, but if wala ko'y buhaton. So yun na I became president of the Sibalance of Mass Communication Students, and the linkages that I have, sir, during when I was the president, masayangan ko if maundang siya sa akong pagka third year. That is why usa sa akong motivations nga dagan ko for SSC sa student council sa among school is that to continue those linkages that I have, nga mas makabuild ko relationship. That is why I Mark and Deo and yes, karon na nakoy bagong friends, and then hopefully madaghan pa akong kanang linkages.
Right.
Nakasabot
Si
pang
Marty.
viewers ako.
We can expand on those later, but we
Yeah.
always learn from our failures, correct?
Yeah.
Let's go to the other Mark first. From CITU.
Well, I guess this is the burden of being the last person to talk. Like, mahurot na nila tanan, masulti, no? However, being the last person to talk, I got something in common with the three of them. But first, for Marty, well, I'm also that social type of guy. I socialize with my friends and even the strangers, like my historian kalit and all. And
So yun yung
I'm also that kind of person who
Comes
thinks
naturally for you.
I'm also that kind of person who thinks differently, sad, and tend to question things. And like I do a lot of stuff good nga makapa-develop sa akong self and all. Like Deo, like diba, pag-develop sa self, you don't know kay you can't give what you don't have.
Right.
So muna, develop sa nimo yourself in order for you to, you know, give back to others. Yeah.
When did you start feeling or realizing that you want to serve others?
The same with them. It's since elementary. I was also that kind of guy ba nga kanang, because I believe leadership is influence me jud good.
Mhm.
When people ask you of your opinions of what you think is best for this, and I think that's the time nga makarealize ka that you have the leadership in you. Because when people believe in your opinions and people believe that what you say could be better, could be the thing that's best for a situation, and I think mo na ang time na kanang you just have to develop it in you in order for you to, you know, become the best leader nga pwede kang pwede mahitabo sa imong self ba. And of course sa kang Marco, the same said, I lost the elections when I was in high school. I ran as president and I was third
Where
year.
was this?
I'm Minglanilla National Science High School. I'm from
Okay.
Minglanilla. And a friend of mine, a close friend of mine, defeated me during that elections. But as what you have said to Marco said, it's both, you know, a joy and sorrow. Okay, of course, I believe in him as that he can lead our school or the students in our school for a better student government. Then there's always joy in every failure. Kay when you experience failure, it's actually a, you know, stepping
Learning
stone towards
experience.
success.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't appreciate success without having
The
failure.
experience, the
Yes.
pain of failure.
Because I can't be this happy of winning the elections in my college in SSG if I wasn't defeated when I was in high school. But all the same, it's always for service. That's actually our tagline when I ran the elections, all for service. And my colleagues even, you know, commended our party for having that kind of tagline, because although it's cliche for a student leader,
But,
but
it shouldn't be cliche, right?
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
it shouldn't be cliche
leaders
because-
are supposed to be there.
Yeah.
exactly.
to serve, yeah.
Yes. So I think that's what it is to become a leader.
All right, you have answered practically this next question to a certain extent, but I'd like to ask this again for us to be able to define it. From your perspective, how do you define leadership based on your experiences? Anyone can start. We don't always have to start.
You can start, Leo.
Well, as I've
Or-
said,
Oh, go ahead.
as I've said earlier, leadership is influence. Leadership is, you know, getting things done
Mhm.
because of your words and all. So, kaya kung good, being a leader, even though nga kinahanglan jud magikan sa imo ang command or nasa imo ang last say and all those things, magkinahanglan gyapon ka og influence sa imong peers, di ba? Kay dili mo jud
How do you establish that, the influence? How do you let others follow your lead? I think that's difficult to do.
well, it's more of how you do things every day, or like kung sila nakita sa imo ka and how you do or how you present yourselves to them, how you present your arguments on student situation, and how well you are experienced based on the situation that is instead of presented bitaw.
So setting an example.
Yes, it's setting an example that
Okay.
For me, leadership basically is being able to feel what your members feel or constituents feel. Like, for example, I think that's sympathy or empathy. But
Empathy.
yeah, empathy. Yeah, empathy, because I believe that if you feel how they feel, and then you're able to you're able to put your feet to their shoes, and then makaibaw ka sa needs nila. I think
Okay.
that's leadership. Another thing also is that leadership is humility. My professor said that recognition comes out naturally if you did something great. That is
Mhm.
why if you are a leader, you don't have to be recognized, because if you have did something good or if you influence somebody or someone, it recognition
People
will just
will know.
follow. Yeah.
So you don't have to trumpet your
Yeah.
achievements, in other words. More?
I think that's it.
I think
Go there.
leadership for me is it can be two things, positional or relational.
Okay.
Positional, we talk about position. You run to a certain extent because you want that position. But for me, that will not define like the millennial leaders at this time. Millennial leaders are relational in nature because they really defy the odds, and then the stereotyping of people, and then when you say relational, you steer to a certain direction.
Okay.
You have that, you guide and then you direct to a certain direction, and that is already your goal
Mhm.
as a leader. And
That's
for-
how you define your generation?
Yes.
Leadership-wise?
Yes.
Okay.
So
So what made you come up or arrive at that
I think
definition?
because right now there are many leaders in say for example in San Carlos who question but still who cooperate. You don't just question, defy the, for example, the administration, but you can also work hand in hand with them. There's a compromise and consensus, and that is our generation, the millennial leaders.
Okay.
And the millennial leaders is that they are not great, but they start in order for them to be great. So you
Okay.
just have to start, do the things that will realize your goal, and then thereafter recognitions will be there, and then you are great. You don't have to be great. There's a saying that I was able to scan lang ba in the internet, na you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So for me, that's leadership in a micro level perspective. When we talk about in national level perspective, we can have authoritative leadership.
Mhm.
We can also talk about charismatic leadership, and then we talk about legalistic leadership. Like you are there because you have the power as enshrined in our laws.
Yes.
You are authoritative because you have that position. So that is positional in nature.
Right.
And then you are charismatic, more of a relational,
Right.
even if you don't have the position, but you are trying to influence people, then for me that is leadership, and that is the millennial leaders.
Wow. I can also recall a definition from my generation. Great things come from small beginnings. All right, Marty.
So I could clearly remember how I campaigned myself during our campaign week in St. Teresa's College. I clearly said that being a leader is not about being in the position to mandate, because being a leader is all about thinking with the mind and yet listening from the heart. And until now, even if that happened like months ago, I still believe in that thing, because being a leader, we should be very critical. We cannot just be impulsive in anything that we do. We should always look at the different angles, different factors, different sides of the story before we can make a decision. But beyond just being critical in nature as a leader, we should always think with our hearts as well, because being a leader, you're not just there to be in the position of authority or tell your constituents what to do. You have to listen to them, because if you do not listen to them, you wouldn't be able to know what they want. And being a leader, it's all about listening to the opinions of your members, because if you listen to them, that just shows that their opinions matter, because they matter and they are the reason why you're in such position. And I believe that leadership is it's already a given that we have different kinds of people. We have these kinds of people who are very energetic, very spontaneous, or perhaps they are very strong in giving out their opinions. But we can never deny the fact that there are these kinds of people who are usually meek and timid, and they just stay at the corner. So as a leader, to me personally, I think these are the kinds of people who we should target, because these are the kinds of people who think that their opinions do not matter.
Who can't
That's why,
express for
yes,
themselves.
they do not express themselves. They think they don't matter. They think since they are these kinds of people, they cannot be involved. And these are the kinds of people who also have their opinions and different things that could also be a basis on how we get to work with things. So I think as a leader or in the administration in St. Teresa's College, I want to put together these kinds of people because I know,
Inclusivity.
yes, because I know they have amazing thoughts and they also have things to say. And I also think that leadership, I remember recently, I think that was 2 days ago, I was scrolling something and I saw a post from Facebook that says, leadership is just like parenting. And I read that post, and at the end of that post, I agreed that leadership, we are just like parents to our members. We are there to guide them, we are there to nurture them, and at the end of the day, when they're able to grow and the end goal of what we want as a leader comes out, then that is a time that we know we were successful, not only as leaders, but as co-humans who coexist with them, who improve them, and who brought out the best in them. And I think that leadership is all about bringing out the best in other people. Leadership is not about us being the leaders. Leadership is about them because they are the ones that we are serving.
I agree. So this is the reason why they are leading their student governments, their schools. Next question. Who do you look up to in the area of leadership or management? It doesn't have to be in your school. It can be anyone in the world. Yes, go ahead, please.
So, I think I couldn't look up to anyone else but my mother, because I think that mothers are our first leaders. Because growing up, we can see our mothers fix our stuff for school, or like cook meals at home, or perhaps teach us ABCs, 1, 2, 3. They guide us. They teach us good manners and right conduct and what to do. So basing from what I saw from my mother growing up and how she nurtured me, and how she wasn't just a kind of mother who would just tell me things what to do. She makes me learn. She makes me understand things. She makes me speak up. She listens to what I can say. So this kind of characteristic from my mother that I have seen growing up, this is the kind of leader that I want to be, and that is I want to nurture my members in the best way we can. I want to create a relationship with them. I don't want to become a leader that they look up to. I want to be a kind of leader that they can look eye to eye because we are in the same level. And in this case, they would be more open to me because I'm here. I am also your friend. You can talk to me. There's nothing to be afraid of, because this president that you see, that's just a name, that's just a title, because beyond that, I'm just a student like you. We are just in the same level, and I am here to listen to you. And I believe that is what my mom really showed to me. She was a good listener, and she loved me, and she would really go out of her boundaries to help me improve. And this is the kind of leader that I want to be too.
So in other words, your mom has shown you that you don't have to be in a position of power in a conventional sense to exercise or display leadership.
Yes.
You guys.
Basically, my model siguro, no, it's not because I belong to a Catholic school, but I would consider Jesus Christ as really the best person that we could look up to, because in the very first place, Jesus Christ is someone who became human. Despite of him being God, he became human so that others could approach him directly, could reach to him, and then as well as Jesus Christ is the best example also of leaving a mark. That's what I campaigned also during the campaign period, making a mark. The time God left on earth, he left a mark in this world that we must love one another. He left a lot of messages to us, but what strikes me the most is being a servant first before becoming a leader. Servant leadership. That is why I'm considering Jesus Christ as my #1 model in everything that I do as a leader.
Okay.
Well, for me, it's not just one person, but there are a lot of people who I look up to. It's basically, or they are my mentors, like since high school till now, because of course, everything I learned or everything that I applied now is because of what I have learned, or from what I have learned from all of them.
Okay.
Yes, from my mentors. But if I am to specify a person, well, it's more of like, it's not really a person, but an idea of a person. Or like, yeah, basically person you did. And it's the person who I was So
Okay.
that's the person I look up to because I just realized, yeah, when I think of what I was before, and I think of how he came to be, or how I came to be right now, ay makaingan ko ba nga, nagabi, kusganan ni Mark sa ay, nakaya man niya ang mga failures, nakaya niya ang mga trials, kinabot sa iya ha. And that's what keeps me going lang, kay, marami tawag, sakto si, I don't know kinsa na siya, si Rizal ba na, hindi ka marunong lumingon sa yung pinanggalingan,
Yes.
hindi ka makakarating sa yung pararoonan. That's, I think, my past self lead me to who I will be and basically
Who you are
who I am right now.
Okay.
So yan, ano.
Leo.
For me, kay, when we talk about characteristic of a leader, I can recall my father and my mother. They are intertwined. Dili sila pwede magbuwag because they inspire me. When it comes to kanang dali maduulan akong mama na, and I must acquire that attitude because I'm a leader, and so I from day to day
You must be approachable.
Yes, approachable, and at the same time smiling to all the people, and that is my mother. My mother passed already last year 2016, so I
Sorry
really
to hear
admire
that.
I really admire my mother for being so humble. And when I talk about public speaking, I can refer that to my father because my father once he talk in front kay maminaw tanan people bisag balik-balik ng storya. Like a conventional barangay leader or a councilor of a barangay ba, and then when my father talks na in front kay maminaw tanan.
Okay.
And then that's a kind of leader nga isog and at the same time charismatic. And then when we look up kanang lam sa gidahon mentors kay I meaning kanang in my leadership I acquire different management types and leadership types from different people. So when we talk about humility, integrity, resilience, and hope, I can refer that to my mentor way back when I was in elementary. I was the mayor of the school, and then he got me for a position in the church, and he said that
Who was this?
the
Who
brother Raul Cosido from Abolo. So he recognized me, and then so he acknowledges my strengths and weaknesses, and then he said that I must create an organization from Barangay Mabolo. So that's it. So siya nag-mentor na ko, and so during campaign last election in USC SSC, I really mentioned about the values on hope, resilience, and humility. Different types of people man dun maka-experience ng failure. So from failure kay di ba napili di masad ko first time na mura, di ba? Hindi ko counselor.
So the two have a very interesting
Yes.
story because both of them, well, Marty was in USC before, and both of them ran in for the SSG, and both of them lost. And now here they are. They ran for counselor. What year was this?
2014.
2014. So both of them ran for counselor in 2014. Both of them lost. They came from two opposing political parties, and here they are now, presidents of their respective student councils. Go ahead.
And so I experienced failure not just in leadership but also in my families. We suffer a lot of things. We have tremendous events that happen, like the death of my mother, and then we have the collapse of our business and some other stuff that I cannot divulge at this time.
Of course, yeah.
And so when it comes to leadership, I failed at the very first attempt to run in SSC. So I lost. I got the 23rd spot out of the 21 seats. And so fortunately, the vice president at that time, Ken Aquino, appointed me as the vice presidential assistant, focusing in the drafting of the Magna Carta for students' rights.
Okay.
So I was really involved with the drafting. That was just my main focus at that time. And so the second time around, I ran as a councilor, and then I won. And right now, I am so hesitant to have this position as president and to handle being the standard bearer of a political party in San Carlos. I am so hesitant at the very outset. But later on, since there are people who pressured, and then there are also people who motivated me, and so I ran. And so for me, this is a story of humility, resilience, and hope. And so there are a lot of mentors along the way in my own experiences. There are a lot of mentors that I have cross path with.
Mhm.
Like what I've mentioned, my mother, my father, and my mentor, brother Cusido, and then my political party is one of my mentors.
Thank you very much. Okay, what I love about being in school was that we were allowed to experience idealism. It's very nice to be idealistic when you are in school. But of course, as I myself have experienced, politics come into play especially during elections,
Yes.
right? But now that you've won, and politics isn't always very kind.
Yes.
Even in student politics, you know, the reason why it is from being in the student government that I actually realized that I do not have to be in government or in politics to be of service to others.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so it's nice to be very idealistic after the elections, after the politics. What have you learned so far? Where do you draw the line between leadership and politics?
When we talk about politics, it's very broad. It can be leadership, it can also be leadership and then service, it can also be an art of government. It can also, because it's very broad.
Right.
Politics it's a social life, it's a social activity.
It's part of our lives.
Yes,
Yeah.
politics. People will see it as bad, but politics really, the end goal of politics is good life. Common
Because
good. for
whether
the
we
common
like it
good.
or not, we really have to run, right?
Yes.
For you to be
Yes.
able to have the position.
But because of different conflicting interests come into play,
That's when bad happens.
yes, that makes the discourse very alive and
Ah.
kicking. So even if there are a lot of interests from different political parties, from pressure groups, and from individuals, but at the end of the day, I know that we are heading to a one direction, and that is for service, and that is for in the context of our school, protection and preservation of our rights as students. So
yeah.
that is the direction that we are taking, even if we have different interests, and that leadership can be seen at the very outset, like the way you actuate, the way you express your ideas in order for you to serve, to preserve and protect students' rights. That's how we deal with, because politics and leadership is intertwined.
Right.
They are interconnected. They can never be separated. Because talking about politics, you're talking about leadership. You're talking about politics, you're talking about service. Therefore, leadership can always be there. It should always be there. And so it can only be separated when you're, for example, you're the president now and you have the three political parties inside the council. And how do you deal with that? You have the conflicting interests. That's what I call compromise and consensus. If there's a way to integrate projects of the same intention, then that is leadership. For you, that is, you steer already one direction, because then and again, even if there are conflicting interests, you're able to come up with integrated project from different political parties, and that is already leadership. You set the goal, you set the direction. Therefore, even if we debate at the very deliberation of that resolution or project, but at the end of the day, we will execute the same project. You oppose to that project, but the majority has it, so you have to respect the you acknowledge the majority's decision, but you also have to respect the minority. Therefore, at the end of the day, even if, for example, they are my councilors, they are from different political parties, he has the majority, she's coming from the minority, and so they actuate on a different resolutions with the same intention. But then, at the end of the day, we were able to integrate the project, and so that is leadership already. Politics and leadership will always be there.
And I think it is in situations like this when your leadership is actually defined.
Yes, that you acknowledge the colorful aspect of politics, and then at the end of the day, you're able to merge and mix the colors.
That's a nice metaphor. Mix the colors. Go ahead, guys. Where do you draw the line between leadership and politics?
I think they use it all.
Yes.
Speaking about politics and leadership, as what as it is connected, I think Deo has the
True.
perfect answer.
Yes.
As a political science student,
Yes,
Yes, and
he's
exactly.
spoken like a true political science
All we
student.
can just say is we agree.
Yes.
Here.
Okay, that's actually a nice example. You know, integrating ideas,
Mhm.
compromise, consensus. Because one of the problems that our country is really facing today is the lack of precisely that.
Yeah.
For example, good projects of this administration, no matter how brilliant the projects are, will not be continued
Yes.
because, especially if the succeeding administration do not come from the
Yes.
same political
I think
interest groups.
I think the very problem of the Philippine society right now is that if there's a change of administration,
There's also
there's a cyclical method of governance.
right.
Like for example, it is started by Arroyo, and then you have another president who opposed Arroyo. Therefore, we will change the program, and then let's have it this way.
Priorities different.
Yes, and so the money of the people is now wasted
Mhm.
because it's cyclical. No, there's no continuity if
Right.
we say.
We'll go to the national scale in a little while, but I'd like to ask first, do you think your schools foster the right environment for leaders to emerge or for students to experience leadership or service?
Well, for our school, I think it's a leader environment friendly school, or shall I say, kanang mo emerge ng mga leaders sa mga school. It's because we have a lot of programs for the development of student leaders, like the Technology Leaders Academy, which is on its sixth season now. It actually came from the concept of the Young Minds Academy, which the three of us, or maybe Marty is also a Young Minds Academy.
Scholar.
I know. So yeah, it's basically the same, but more siya student or campus-wide lang siya nga academy. And aside from that, there are a lot of organizations, department-based and non-department-based organizations in our school, and all of them are really proactive when it comes to the advocacies that they share. And at the same time, these organizations are convened in a Technology Leaders Congress, wherein all these student organizations come together to discuss things, to solve problems inside the university, and of course build their teams, and at the end of the day, promote student success.
Just to add, one of our visions in USJR is to really immerse the leaders outside the school, because we are community-oriented, gospel-oriented institution. That is why our leaders are really immersed in the community. Most especially that USJR is located at the Carbon area. So basically, inig-sold na mo sa eskwelahan, makita dun what is the reality of the society. Just to mention one, I have these two friends from my department who is immersed in Hongkera, because Hongkera is mistakenly defined as being a red light district, and they did this project to rebrand Hongkera. That is Pundo Kadasi that is happening now. If you can go to Hongkera right now, Miss Micaela Jaisel Dolores and Miss Mitzi Ambrad from YMA from YMA also made this project to rebrand the red light district into a shoe repair shop and to a t-shirt printing industry.
I think
So
we wrote stories about that.
yes, so that is basically what is the branding of leadership in our school. We don't limit our ideas into just the four corners of our institution, but we immerse outside the school in order to really put the right things, in order to really put the theories into actions and put effect and give effect to the community as well.
Good, Marty.
So I think STC has a perfect environment into building or honing leadership, because in relation to our vision and mission, the vision and mission of St. Teresa's College is to create creative, transforming leaders in view of nation building. So I think this is really, I think it's very much timely and relevant to our topic today, and in connection to the core values and the marks of adoration. So our core values in our school is we have faith, justice, truth, we have service, integrity of creation, and peace. And for the marks of adoration, we have Christ-centered, compassionate to the poor, being catalyst for justice, integrity of creation, and peace. We have competence, we have service, and we have being truth advocates. So I think having this mission and core values and the marks of authority, these are the foundations of how a leader should be. Because being a leader, you're not just thrown in a position. You can't just lead a school blindfolded. You have to have like
The support.
yes, the support.
of
If
the
this was a
environment.
war, you need to have bullets and you need to have perfect military strategy. So in that environment, we were taught about these things, and the beauty about this is no matter how broad leadership would be, it all boils down that our school teaches us to be Christ-centered. Because I believe that if a leader is Christ-centered and you focus on not your personal interests or the benefits that you could get for a position, but if you focus on the things that you could give to your surroundings, then that would be a very beautiful thing. And in addition to that, in our school, even if we are a small college compared to
The three
yes,
others, yes.
because you have such a huge population, and in St. Lucia's College, we only offer, I think, we're around right now in my administration. We're about 200 students in college because of K to 12, and that's already 6 courses. So even if we're such a small college, we have different organizations that focus on different things. So we have our academic orgs. Those are organizations for our chosen course. We have, for instance, for mass communication, we have TCO. For psychology, we have Cyclic. For accountancy, we have JPIA. And for the non-academic orgs, these are the kinds of organizations that tend to focus on our interests. So for instance, me, I'm very much interested in theater, so I'm from Buhilama Theater Organization. We have Sikabay, which focuses on singing and arts and instruments. So the people who are from the CSE are not the only ones who get to improve their leadership skills, but these people coming from different small organizations are able to hone and improve their creative and organizing skills in being able to organize activities within their different
Respective groups. Okay.
Yes, depending on what their focus is. And once we put it together, we make beautiful activities that are involved by all the students in our school. So I think that's the beautiful thing about SEC being a perfect environment for honing leaders.
That's good news. Okay, let's go to your specific interests. What causes or areas do you feel strongly about? So you can now talk about your priorities as SSC or SSG president.
For me, in San Carlos, like, yes, as a president, is you have priority agenda. You must have priority agenda aside from having platforms of different parties. Like in my administration right now, we
Let's
focus
limit
on
it to.
yes, we focus on the protection of students' rights. And how do we go about this? We have the Magna Carta of students' rights. Right now, we have the student manual review. So we, in close coordination with the administration, 2 representatives from SSC, the president and the vice president, will also sit with them, will debate, will have deliberations with them with regards to the rights of students, particularly in Article 3 of our student manual. And so that's how we deal with the problem. And right now also we are dealing with the constitutional review and revision of SSC, because as Mark reiterated earlier, that we are not well represented. We have 16,000 Carolinians, but we only have 21 councilors. Like, what's the significance of these 21 councilors? Are they really representing the 16,000 Carolinians and the 7 schools of the university?
So you think that's not enough?
Yes,
we need more.
We need, I think we need to deal with the situation. I am not saying that we need more, but we just have to make it clear that this is already sufficient. Like, for example, the School of Law and Governance, how many representatives? We go with proportion. So it should be proportional representation at the end of the day.
Okay.
And then we also acknowledge the foreigners, like we have foreign students. They have the right to vote, but they don't have the right to be voted upon. So that's how interesting it is. So I think how do we deal with that is we go to constitutional convention. So we already passed a resolution calling for a constitutional convention, review the constitution of SSC, its relevance, its significance, and its timeliness to deal with the present concern of the university. So two things: protection of rights for the Magna Carta and the revision of our constitution.
Good luck. Go ahead.
In our school, we have this SSC services that makes the student's life easier. So, basically, mga ginagmay siya nga butang, pero makatabang siya sa mga estudyante sa ilang pag mas prosige sa ilang pag-eskwela. We are planning to improve our services. We have print for less, courtesy book, those simple things like that. In that way, we could
Explain those simple things. What
Uh,
do they do to
print
help?
for less, basically mahal ang bayad sa print sa gawas. So sa SSC mas
Okay.
maka-afford sila kaya tag-piso lang ang page nga dili covered. Yes. And also we have these things that we actually have baro kobe. They can borrow things and stuff if they forgot their stuff at home, katong mga wala ng boarding house. And also aside from these services, these mini services, in my Congress, I'm also planning to really go outside of the school to really extend, because that's what really USTR is known for, community extension programs. In my term, I want to educate high school students on proper usage of social media.
Which we will be talking about in a
Yes.
while.
Yes.
Okay.
And because it's my bias actually to really educate these young students to really use these powerful tools in the right way, and also would like to also give them, the high school students, basic stress debriefing with the help of our psychology students. Basically, the main the target or the main agenda that I would like to bring in my Congress is to really extend outside of the school. But before going outside, I still have to take care of the students inside the
internal.
school. Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, in our student government, just like what Deo said, no, after having the elections na Doha parties, we I think last May 31 to June 2, we had our team building, and we came up with this one vision of the Supreme Student Government for this academic year, and it is Abante, not Adelante kayo siya. Abante ako. It's about, advance in building up advocacies and involvement. Like ang N kay involvement lang ba?
Alright.
And
It's an
involvement.
acrostic.
Yeah. So inana like more of Abante, which means to forward bitaw. Okay, last year we had this Ubanta. So it's actually this shirt sa Loyoani kay Ubanta. And after coming together with some important, diba? I think it's
Move
time.
forward.
It's high time to move forward. So all of our programs are geared to advancement bitaw, to improving what has been done in the past years, and of course coming up with different programs pa.
Mhm.
We actually have 8 focus areas. Social advocacy and social responsibility, student involvement and development, awareness and transparency, administrative relations, because of course every agenda or the agenda sa inyong administration will still be, of course, subject of approval of the university administration. So manang apel administrative relations and internal management, like the system of governance na mo, how do we do things before, and how can we improve on the management of projects, programs.
Making things more efficient.
Yes, making things more efficient and effective. But if I am to share one of our premier programs for this academic year, it is the adoption of the peer learning program.
Mhm.
This peer learning program is actually a program of the administration spearheaded by the Peer Mentors Club. These Peer Mentors Club are composed of students who excel academically, like the honor students, and these students, we call them mentors, peer mentors. They go to the peer learning center, or ang venue sa peer learning program, and they teach students, they tutor students. That's one of the secrets of CIT University, of always CIT tops again and all. So that's one of the secrets that we have, is the peer learning program. And just last year, mura siya nawala lang ba or na inactive somehow.
Mhm.
It's because of the presence of the senior high. Kay most of our mga pangtutoran are first years, second years.
Mhm.
And since na may senior high, then less na ang first years. And the mentors as well, kay wala na kayo engagement with kasi tutoran, then mawala.
Okay.
So because I have the heart for the peer learning program,
Were you part of it before?
Yes, I was part of the Peer Mentors Club, and I teach students and I tutor them math, physics, and all
No.
things nga kanang kay boss ko ana nya since
So that's what you want to prioritize.
yeah, since I am the president naman of the Supreme Government, then why not adopt the program in order for it to sustain in the future kay ako among believe good nga kung dalon siya sa SSG, which is mandated to serve the students, then of course the peer learning program would sustain and sustain. But
And it has been proven to be effective.
yes, actually nag-develop na mi sa among pag-relaunch karon this July 7 our university conferment day, and hopefully it would be successful because the program would be somehow change a bit nga ang program na kay mo cater to senior high school students asad. So pwede yung hitabo mga mentors kay college, ang tutees kay
Senior high.
senior high. So that's one way of giving back to the administration sa ilang support nga gihatag sa amo SSG sa mga programs nga mo gipang prepare for the students.
Thank you, Marty.
So in our administration, so first we would want to start with small things, and that would be the relationship between the student leaders, because in our school we have an organization, it's called Allies. So Allies are consisted by all the officers coming from the academic organizations and non-academic organizations. We it seems like the College Student Council, which consists of, we are only 5. We have president, vice, secretary, auditor, and treasurer. We're the internal, and the external would be consisting of all the allies. So just recently we had our leadership training. So it was the first leadership training where an overnight was planned. So it happened June 17 to 18. We called it the Tertian Apex with the theme Moving Forth to the Peak of Excellence and Camaraderie. So in this leadership training, we tend not only to focus on the development of leadership skills of the people, but we really wanted to focus on the emotional and personal connections we have to each other, because personally I believe that one of the things that hinders people from involving, or perhaps what hinders leaders from not really cooperating, is that they don't know who they're with. They were just given that position, and they don't know who they're working with. They're not comfortable with the people they're working with. So I think if we would be able to disclose a little bit of personal things about ourselves, and we would be able to make a solid bond with everyone, then it would be a huge step forward for us to forget all our differences, because
Strengthen
yes,
relationships.
we strengthen our relationships. Then we can move on to the next step. And what we really want for this school year is empowerment, because we have a problem in our school in which people only tend to go to activities since if they would not be there, they would be penalized, and that
If
is
they're required.
they're just required. Or if they're
I think that's
not,
that's a problem that's
Yes.
not exclusive to SDC in other schools as well.
Yes.
Many
like
students just go because it's required.
like if they're not around, they would have to pay a fine. So it would make us think, so it seems like you're just joining because you don't want to pay a fine. So that is such a sad thing for the pride of us leaders, because we prepared this for you guys to learn something, but then they just go there because they don't want to pay a fine. So if we would be able to empower everyone, and if we would be able to show everyone that you as a person, you're important to us, then maybe they would change their perspectives and principles, and they would be able to participate with us. Because I have this thing, I believe that the reason why people don't really participate is because they know they have nothing to do with it. Like, even if I'm there or I'm not there, that's not going to make a difference. So we want to show people, if you're here, it will make it better. It will make a difference. Your existence and your participation in this activity will make a difference. And lastly would be, there's a bit of a thought that STC seems like we're very close. We don't really go out. We don't go to outside activities.
You don't deal with the outside
we don't
world.
deal with the outside world, because we're in our school we're very conscious. We really want in whatever activity we join, it should be a wholesome activity. It should reflect the principles, the core values, and the marks of the Tertian. So for this administration, we would really want to push going out there. We want to put ourselves out there. We want to extend,
Connect
like
with the others,
what Mark
yes.
said, linkages. We want to have more linkages.
Connect with the USJR.
Yes, we want to connect with the USJR. Like, if there could be an activity that perhaps, for instance, if there is just an event that all student councils of all universities would plan, that would be an amazing thing. If we
Yes.
would be able to make something, if we would be able to make a wholesome activity that all schools could take part of, them, that would be a dream to me, and that would be the real goal of our administration. We want to go out there. That's why for the he has a counselor right now currently who's named Norch Honorides. Norch is counselor. I was just chatting with him recently, and I really told him, Norch, if USC has activities, please feel free to tap us. To tap us as CC, because we really want to take part in organizing or perhaps just help. So that is the goal of our administration.
But that's a good priority, changing apathy to empathy
Yes.
among the students. Okay, unquestionably, one of the biggest strengths of your generation is technology,
Yes.
the internet in
Very
particular.
much.
How do you plan to use this to advance your causes or your projects? And that's going to be the first question in line with technology. The second one will have to do with how you guys as leaders can help prevent, if not stop, the proliferation of fake news. So we go to the first.
Basically, media is very useful in giving out our messages to our constituents, in relaying the message that we want them to hear. Just like, for example, in our Congress, we have this newly launched service called Dear SSC. Dear SSC is wherein, because we have this Hosenian Freedom Board, which is very famous even to other schools. This is where normally Hosenians ipagawas ang ilang mga gibate, and I'm just so sad nga ang SSC nganong dili man sila diri moduol sa SSC, nganong hadlock man sila, nganong pa-anonymous man sila. That is why I'm using.
What is this? Is this a physical board where you can write?
No, it's a Facebook page.
Alright.
Yes, where everybody could go on. Dito ko ipang tag, sir, nga kanang Mark, Sir Press, please hear this, please kanang ko ana sulbaran ni. So I'm alarmed. So that is why we launched Dear SSC. It's a form, an online form wherein the students could directly write their grievances and concerns. If they need improvements to the school, if they have namang iban nga magyaw-yaw lang sa Senate Freedom Board nga without taking the other side. So we want it nga kanang with proper deliberation, with amo siyang address sa admin, and that's how we use technology. We take advantage of technology in order to address the concerns of the students, and as well as also advertising our activities. Social media is very useful. I think the three of them would agree to me.
Yes.
Yes. Let's hear their agreement.
Well,
Yeah.
the same with Marco. We have this program called Tug and Teknoy. So it's actually most na among tubag sa kanang problem nga naay isa ka page, like for instance ilaha sa niyang freedom board samo is technology confession censored. So
Okay.
ara sa mga grievances tanan.
But
mga
these are all
young
anonymous,
people.
right?
Yes, anonymous sa mga students. So we developed this kanang program nga Tug and Teknoy. Mo siya gi-brand na mo para not really masapawan to, but for them to have a platform nga sanctions sa supervised government yun, nga kanang naagi padulngan ang mga concerns ba. And aside from that, how we use technology to advance our mga agenda sa supervised government is one, we're actually having this electronic bulletin board. So TV screen na ang tanan namong mga post. That way paperless na ang among mga posters, kay nya mas interactive siya sa students. So that's one thing. Also sa Tug and Teknoy, part na siya sa among SSG website. So we actually thought of maximizing the use of the internet through the website. Kay sa website man good, flexible kayo ang imong pwede mabuhat niya, unlike Facebook nga kung ang information nga mo ubos na, di na lisod na kayo
You
pakitawan.
don't have any control of the algorithm
Yeah.
of Facebook.
So sa website, pwede good siya, like if mag-search ka kung unsa tong mga nahitabo pag last year, kita gid nimo. And also kato, since Institute of Technology man, dawahin na gid mi sa pag-automated sa elections sa duha ka universities. USG and USC.
You'll get there. You'll get there.
Yes, we will get there, and that's what we are planning to have this administration nga ma-push na gid ang pag-automated sa mga elections. And not just that, mobile updates inana sa same sa inyo, di ba? Text message lang, madawat na mga information. So that's what we are going to have for this academic year, sir.
Okay.
For San Carlos, I credit this to the administration, our ISMIS account. So we have that every student.
What is ISMIS?
It's a centralized, like for enrollment, you can view your grades there, you can view your TOR, payments and all.
What does it stand for? Is that an acronym?
Yes, I think, but I forgot the name. So it's called ISMIS. Every enrollment, there's a hashtag ISMIS necessary. So,
Okay.
ma-back down lang. Okay, because of ginandagan kayo
The
enroll.
traffic. Okay.
So we have ISMIS, and in SSC SAD, we are pushing for an application na all should know or ask. So we are developing the application right now. So we have that a committee, public relations committee. And sa Amosan SSC page, they can always message
Is this a
us.
phone app you're developing?
Yes,
Okay.
phone app, and then for all Carolinians. And we also have passed a resolution for TV management. So we will put in strategic places, because we have 3 campuses to govern.
Right.
So in strategic places of Talamban campus, main campus, and South campus, we will be having a TV for announcements and some other things about SSC. And then TV management, and how do we go about researches of students and their passion? We also have innovation convention. It started last administration, and then we are continuing it right now. And so coming from students, they plan, like they have specific plan, prototypes, and even researches nga wala ni fail sila sa ilang department. So how do we go with that? Kay in a convention, there are a lot of establishments, companies, big companies nga mong i-gather ilang manager, and then mga managers, and then mo talk, mo pitch ka sa imong idea, and then if ganahan ang company, then pwede na niya i-fund nga idea. So that is how we deal with our vision of collaboration and innovation. We collaborate with big companies, and then we innovate. There's an internal innovation on the part of the student, because it is for development, and at the same time you are developing something for the society. So that's innovation convention, and we have now the ClayGo system in USC. It started with a awareness campaign, ClayGo, clean as you go. But right now we are having the big trash bins, segregated na, and then makahipos na sila ba sa ilang mga truck, sa ilang mga garbage ang mga students and utensils. So dito na ibutang. So it's part of innovation again.
For all 3 campuses.
For all 3 campuses, and then nilabi pa lang ni, wala pa man siya na siya sa main ang usa ka trash bin, but other canteens sa mga schools sa university kay butangan pa na. So that's how we deal with innovation and technology.
Great news. Yes, STC.
So I'm very proud to say that in STC, we're really more in the traditional kind way of processing. So for instance, if San Carlos has ISMIS, then in our case, because we have a small population,
Right.
We could handle a 3-day enrollment, because usually we right now today was the end day of our enrollment. So we had our enrollment June 19, 2021, and we would just gather in the AVR, and people would just we would just claim a sheet from the registrars, and we just have to follow the steps. Like first we have to get our grades, so we're very
Easier to deal with because
so
of
more
the
the population. So the faculty and staff could just bear with the amount of people going in, especially now that there's K-12, so we only have 2 batches left in our school.
Right, yeah.
So, but in Connect, and whenever we would have announcements, we just have a very huge board out near the college area. So that's where we post dean's listers. We have announcements.
And everyone sees
yes,
that.
and everyone sees that. So everybody gets to be acquainted with what's happening. So if in connection to social media, I think it's a huge advantage, especially in activities, because it's very typical for us to change profile pictures if we have activities or to promote posters or promote videos. So this is the way that we're able to advertise STC and what we can offer. So right now, in our administration, we're planning to create a page. It's called the Thursday Times. So in here we would want to post the different
A Facebook page. This is
a
a
Facebook page.
Okay.
Yes, we're pushing for the Thursday Times. So in this page, we would be showing all the photos of our events, and we have this organization in our school. They're called the STCNES. So this is the organization who is usually assigned to cover events. They make videos. They have shoots in our schools. So we want in different events that we have, we would want them to cover it so as to show other people that despite us SDC being such a small school, we also have great activities, and that is what we want to show if we're able to create the page.
Okay, great news. We go to the next question, and I think I'd like to hear first from our comm students. The
Yes.
second question in line with technology is how you can help through your leadership, because we now zoom out to the community level.
Yes.
How you can use your leadership to help prevent, if not stop, fake news.
Basically, during my third year, we have this major subject. It's called communication seminar. So we started educating my alma mater. We started in my alma mater. We educated 50 students on. First topic was citizen journalism. Second was how do you deal with self-pity in social media, and then third is ethical protocols that you need to observe social media, and lastly we tapped a friend from USC, spreading peace, or how do you spread peace using social media. So that project was called Project Click. It was community literacy, information, and credibility, knowledge, responsibility. It's too long, but actually
Quite a mouthful.
the point was we are reaching out to these high school students because kani mga high school students mo ni sila ang mga kanang kasagaran, most especially kaning nasa public school pud mo na sila mas limited og scope, kanang mas limited ang ilahang learning. So that's why we would like to extend our what we have learned, and also with the help of local media practitioners. So basically we go to public schools, we educate them, and after that we don't just leave them, we monitor them. And then we also spread the advocacy of choosing wisely, of accepting your friends, because basically man good sir, ang manggawa sa imong news feed that comes from your friends.
Right.
So if you choose the right friends, if you scrutinize the right friends, then you're able to have a good healthy relationship with the social media. So
In other words, don't just accept anyone.
yes, don't just accept anyone, and then basically, sir, that's it. Spreading informations and then choosing the right friend. Yes.
Right. We have to
Good
define it
method.
because fake news isn't simply just
Yes.
incorrect information. It also involves people sharing or even propagating misinformation, deliberate. We need to say deliberate, and disinformation.
Yes.
Right. So okay, go ahead. Let's listen to USC.
Kasi ikaw?
Ako.
First,
Ako.
first lady. First
Right.
lady.
Okay.
So we all know that the World Wide Web is so huge. Sometimes things that are published are anonymous. Sometimes things that are posted, we know someone who said it is credible, for instance. So I think that as a leader, I think that the first thing that we would be able to do about something about the fake news is first and foremost to be aware. Because if a person is aware of what's happening, he or she would not be easily fooled nor be gullible with anything that he or she says. But if the instance is something, for instance, you opened your Facebook and things were shared, because that's what usually happens today in Facebook, you just share, you click and you share. So first and foremost, you have to verify. You have to verify if what you're reading is correct. You don't have to make your emotions cloud you for your judgment, nor you should not be too impulsive with how you propagate these news or how you take in this news, because as a communicator, we were taught in our school, in our major subjects, we have to verify and be sure if everything that we're seeing is facts. Because as especially a mass communication student, we have to be very responsible what we say, because whatever we say would affect the thoughts of other people and would affect with how they deal with such thing. As a leader as well, I think that to stop fake news, we wouldn't really be able to stop fake news because we can't stop other people from sharing things. We don't own the world. We can't go to everyone individually and tell them stop spreading fake news, but as an individual,
Nor can you
Yes.
force anyone
yes,
or everyone to listen
stop,
to you.
yes, to listen to me. But I could be responsible for myself, and I could be able to influence other people's, and that is by being a truth advocate. Because if we just speak the truth, and if we tend to seek and hunt for the truth, then fake news wouldn't really be possible if we just try to look at all the details and make sure that whatever we're saying, whatever we spread, whatever we believe in is the truth. And that, I think, is the first step to avoiding fake news to propagate in the society.
Thanks, Marty. Go ahead.
I believe that I have learned something today about information coming from the communication
Okay.
students. But
Just as
my thought,
everyone has learned.
kanang, sir, I believe information is so costly. You're talking about awareness, but how can you be so aware if you don't have the information? Say, for example, a newspaper. You have to buy it in order for you to read, and you really have to know what that information is coming from the newspaper. It's very costly. You're reading, it's costly because it takes time.
Mhm.
And so for us, in political behavior, I think you go to heuristics. You go to shortcut method of obtaining information. And that's what fake news nga mo propagate na dayon. Like, say for example, you will only be reading the headlines, but you're not reading the content. Therefore, if mo post ka na, but if you read it properly, then you can get the gist of the news.
Critical thinking
Yes,
plays an
critical
important
thinking,
role.
it plays an important role. But at the end of the day, it's very costly. I believe na kung rational thinker ta, we think about kanang shortcut method yun, that's always.
Mhm.
Kay there are other things nga we need to concentrate on, not just on informing ourselves, but also acting on this information. And also there are other things, practical things, like ngano mamina pa man kog news kung gusto ra day ko manglaba, ngano mamina pa man kog news, or ngano mabasa pa man kog information nga kung buhaton dito kay magkichika man ko. So we're dealing with practical things here. We're dealing with the social life. And this is all about political behavior. Like, if you have that information, therefore your actuation will also reflect on what you obtain from the information. So how do we go about this if we have fake news? I think there's a thing on proactivism and vigilance,
Mhm.
that you also have to be proactive. Like, you read the information even if you know already that's fake news. You read that and then compare that, verify the information, and for me, that's one way of kanang educating people ba.
Mhm.
Like, we have communication students here. It's their social obligation to tell the people that this is already a verified news.
Call attention.
Yes,
Yeah.
call the attention of everyone, because laylay ng thinking ng people good. For example, in Facebook, makabasa lang ko nga si Kuan ni post, si ASEC mo kayuso ng post, so akong basahon and then nga na ba.
Mhm.
So if fake news ba na or verified news ang gikuan sa usa ka vlogger or ang gikuan sa usa ka author of the information. So be responsible as always. We can just say na be responsible, but how do we really become responsible in the first place nga if information is costly? So it's a debate ba. Costly man ang information jud. Nga, like for example, making news kay costly pud siya. You still have to publish it, and then you have to connect or tap a publishing company, or nga na ba nga costly hapon. So all things kay costly, therefore unsa may buhaton sa people mo shortcut. But things or people nga kabawsan sa information, it's their obligation to tell, to educate. Nga ingon ani ni siya nahitabo, ingon ani. So I think it's a matter of give and take. Kay people man di man ka kaingon nga fake news na. Ngano na fake news man? Basta fake news na siya. So you have
You
to
have to know
educate.
why, yeah.
Oo. So
Thanks, Dave.
Talking about fake news, of course, directly related gina sa communication students.
sila.
And they himself, as a political science student, can correlate it with his.
It's affecting everyone.
Yes, it's affecting everyone. So, ako lang guro, I can't really have this, theories or concepts na ma-learn. Okay, of course, I civil engineering student, layo kayo. However, ako lang guro mabuhat is, of course, katong gisulti ni Marty, be responsible of myself and use my influence for my colleagues to be responsible of themselves and as well sa social media, and of course dealing with fake news. And okay, of course Facebook, kitang tanan mga millennials nahamgay Facebook, and every information that we can get in Facebook ma-share na yun nato. So I think ako lang sa akong self, kung makita lang guro kog fake news, then ignon ako mga friends, inano lang, simple rin kaya akong mabuhat ba. Kaya I'm in this participants hat ba, not on the facilitators hat, kay not really into those kinds of things. So mana, the least or the best thing that I can do is for myself, be responsible for myself and for my colleagues.
Yes, that's already one of the best things you can do.
Yes.
Okay, do you think what issue regarding the youth do you think our government, let's zoom out, has not given much attention to? Yes.
Youth, right now, ang context kay no representation of the youth, no sangguniang kabataan. I have reiterated this in one of the forum of Rafi, with Isa Segura, the commissioner of NYC.
New chair, yeah.
Yes, the new chairman.
She has just been
the new
appointed
chairman.
also
into the MTRCB, representing the youth. But for me, my concern is that we have youth representatives coming from different organizations, youth organizations. They implement projects, they can organize. It can be that the idea or a brainchild idea is coming from a senior colleague, but the actuations or organizing part and parcel falls under the youth. But my concern is that when we talk about representation, it should be that the youth must create a policy at the end of the day. We have different youth representatives in Congress because we have we have the party list representation. We have party list representatives in Congress. But when we talk about local level participation in policy making process, it should be the main concern of the government. Why? Because only the youth can understand their interests. No other
Sector.
age bracket or sector can understand the youth than the youth themselves.
Correct. Yeah.
So how can you go about with the issues of HIV, with the issues on those things, drugs,
If you
don't have the representative in the local level legislative department or bodies? So you must have a representative and then empower that representative to make policies, legislations at the end of the day, and not just on organizing. Because at the end of the day, we are here for purposeful driven citizens. And how can we be purposeful driven citizens? We don't just implement projects, because implementing projects is not coming from our minds. What comes from our mind is when we are now creating policies, and we are making, that's how we deal with nation building. It is in our constitution, but right now the government is so silent about it. So I believe that the youth should be in nation building, and we have colorful idealistic ideas and concepts in mind, but how can we actuate this? Because the context right now is you go to a certain, for example, to a certain official leader or a congressman, and then, Mr. Congressman, please do this in Congress, pass a bill about like this and like that. For me, if we are for efficient governance, empower the youth and have a representative in legislative bodies so that they can deliberate with the colleagues or senior colleagues in the legislative bodies, and in that way there's a equity of participation, not equality but equity of participation. So for me, the best way is representation in policy making bodies.
Mark.
I would like to highlight on the education, because basically, as what I've observed since I'm coming from a public school, and I've also have done this through my investigative journalism, and I have found out that there are still really schools that are not ready. And how could we impart the right knowledge to these students? Well, in fact, I would say that some of our, not all, but some of our teachers are not ready. Our equipments are not ready. Classrooms are not there. They even 100 of students share with the same classroom and then mag-shifting pa jud. So I would like to highlight about education that the government must also focus on that side because it's very crucial since we're having the bago na nga K-12 and I think they must focus onto that as well, education.
So the loopholes in the transition.
Yes.
You've seen that in your research. The other Mark.
Well,
What issues concerning the youth do you think need more attention?
Well, I think sa ilang ikonsulti, no, I agree to both of them. I'm really more into what Deo said, kanang participation in governance kay, di ba, sige lang sila suspend sa SK.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the grabe kayo nga ways in how the youth can participate in policy making. Okay, of course, part good siya sa government, good. So muna, I think sulti kita na nila yung angay gini sulti.
Yes.
Of course, gisulti sa ni Marco nga education yun kay mo magito atong mga interviews no about education and how important is education.
Correct.
So kana
Please share what you said in that interview.
well, it's more of the concept of education and experience. Kanang kung education lang, like kung sa school lang, kuwang rin na siya kung may experience. I think most of the mga reasons nga nung mabiyaan sa ng youth in policy making kay kung sila experience on how to do this.
Exposure is necessary.
Exposure is necessary. Pero ang loophole ko dira is if di mo i-empower ang youth sa bata pa siya, so kanus pa man, di ba? So, sa man niya pag-experience kung di naman siya gaano something for him to experience in the first place. So, I think inana lang niya mo na magkuyog silang duha, mo yun ang i-emphasize sa akong sa interview ato. That education and experience, if they come together, then success yun ang kalulunan.
Alright, Marty.
I can't find the words to say this in a very political perspective.
You don't
like
have to
what
be
Leo
very-
said.
yes,
So
you
I'm
don't
very
have to be-
pressured right
No need to be pressured.
I think that in connection, of course, I agree with everything that they said. Of course, above all, what they said, because he's a political science student and he's very knowledgeable when it comes to these things. So I really think that the thing that the government has not addressed properly, aside from in connection with the youth not having a representation, is it's very simple. Whenever we say something, other people don't think it's important because we're the youth.
Because you're
So,
young.
Because we're young. Because
Okay,
we don't
yeah.
anything. Because we're knowledgeable. Because we're not old enough. Because we don't have the wisdom. So, in our case, or in my point of view, just because I'm of this age, it doesn't mean what I say does not matter. Because whatever we're trying to address, that is our problem. That's not your problem. That's why we're trying to bring it up. So you could find a way to solve it. But if you would just throw at us something like, oh, you really don't know anything because you're just young. So that is a huge problem. So if we're not represented well, if no one, like among the millions of the youth in the Philippines, if no one would be able to represent us in such a way that they would be able to persuade the government that this is the reality that the youth is facing, then none of our problems, no matter how much we rant on Facebook, no matter the thousands of keyboard warriors there are, no matter how much we share these posts, if they think we don't matter, then how would they be able to help us? So that's the first step. They have to listen to us. They don't have to just resent whatever we say or like scold us because we're telling the wrong things, because we're not kids anymore. That's what the school teaches us. We have to learn and be able to apply what we are. But now that we are saying what we can, what we observe, our mouths are being shutted up. So that's the sad thing about that. So I think that's the main thing that the government should be able to address. That's to listen to us, because it's a very obvious fact that our perspectives will be very different. For instance, our perspectives may be the same because we're in the same age bracket, we're in the same generation, so we would be in one direction, like, yes, I agree, that's what I'm feeling. But people older than us would be like,
May have a different view.
that's your hormones. You're just being moody, something like that. So that is such a sad plight.
It can be unfair.
Yes, that would be so unfair. So if the government really wants justice, if they really want to show justice in the society, then they should also listen to us and what we have to say, because what we're saying is not just something for us to try to catch attention. We're actually saying what we notice. So that's the thing I think that the government should really focus.
So I
That's
think it's a
listening to us.
collective call
Yes.
for government to pause and listen to what the youth
Yes.
has to say. I think it's just fair, considering at least in this government, the youth actually played a big role
exactly.
in
Yes.
placing our president
Yes.
in the position.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's give you the chance to give your message to your constituents in your schools.
Ladies first again.
We all know you jumped up.
So
Go ahead. Yes, Marty.
is this my final message to my
Yes, yes.
final message? So hello, Clarician. So I am very honored and very happy that you have placed me in this position. So I would not say much because I know we have a long year to hang out, hang around, to build friendships, to create projects that would probably make our school. Our school is already, I think it's the best. So I'm not comparing with other schools. I think to me, since I'm a proud Clarician, then I think what our school is offering, I'm very satisfied with it is. So despite of this excellence that our school is showing us, I hope that we would be able to work together. I hope that you would be able to work with our administration, because what our administration would really want is to empower you guys. We want you to take part. We want you to be participative, to involve yourselves, to engage yourselves in anything that you want. We want to listen to you. We want to create a personal relationship with you, because we're not just leaders who are in the position. We are your friends, and we could be there for you. We could share secrets outside the barriers of leadership activities, of governance, because we can't just think about politics the whole year, because we're just the same, we're students and we want to bond with each other. So that's very simple. So this, what I'm saying right now, is not coming from your CSE president, but it's coming from a friend, or perhaps your future friend in the future. So that's what I hope. I just hope you would be able to cooperate with us and just share your concerns and ideas, because I assure you that your opinions matter and that you matter to us.
Thank you, Marty.
Fellow Carolinians, hello. Once again, this is Deo. So we have mingled each other from student organizations, from the big events that we have, the Carolinian Summit and Week of Welcome. So I invite you, Carolinians, to join and be proactive with our activities that we set for the academic year 2017 to 2018. We have a lot of projects, long-term and short-term, big events. So I just hope that our vision of collaboration and innovation will be realized in our academic year this year. And we want you to be part of all activities, because at the end of the day, SSC is not just about the 23 officers sitting in the council. It is about the 16,000 Carolinians studying in the university. Therefore, I invite you to always pray for us also, for guidance and protection. And also, I believe that if we are working hand in hand, we can create a beautiful chapter of your story inside the university. So good luck to all exams and oral recitations. Good luck to us SSC. Good luck to the student organizations who will be partaking in our service. And once again, vamos Carolinians.
Thank you. Mark, go ahead.
Sure. All right. So before anything else, I was not able to have that opportunity to thank after the election. So let me take this opportunity to all the Osenians. Thank you so much for putting me in this position. It is a great privilege, at the same time an honor to serve you all. As what I've always been reiterating during my campaign, I can be your presidente, igsuon og amigo. Presidente, I could lead you. I could, if you want somebody to facilitate your team building activity in your organizations, I'm very much willing to help for free. I could also be your igsuon if you don't have someone to talk to, if our guidance counselors are so busy, and if they're full, you can come to my office and then talk to me. I could be your brother. And lastly, I could be a friend. The best thing siguro that I could offer this year is to be an approachable president as much as he can.
and being able to cater and accommodate your concerns. And guys, this council, we see to it that we become one despite the variety and the diversity of the parties that we have inside the council. As what we always say in our tagline, true service call, one council for all, and let us always learn and progress and develop. And as what we always say, forward, radiant children.
Thank you so much.
Hi, fellow technologians, technoids out there who are listening. Well, same with Marco, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you guys for putting me in this position because I wasn't able to do so during that time. Well, I'm looking forward to a more participative and a collaborative technology community. No? Hopefully, you'd participate in all our activities, our programs, our projects nga para ra gyud sa inyong tanan. And also, we would like to invite you and look forward to a more partnerships with these universities, these colleges, STC, USC, and USJR.
They can all make that as a pledge now.
So let me say hi to all fellow Cebuanos.
Yes.
Hello.
Because this is not just about the technologians, not about the Josenians, the Carolinians, or the Teresians. This is all about the Cebuanos, the Filipinos.
Yes.
And yeah, hopefully we'll come together and do all our things, all the things that could advance to a more vibrant Cebu, more vibrant Philippines.
Mega
So,
Cebu.
for my technologians, all hail maroon and gold.
So there you have it. There you have it. Thank you very much to our guests today. We have Deo Burgos from the University of San Carlos. We have Mark Roland Romas from the University of San Carlos, and Mark Angel San Nicolas from the Cebu Institute of Technology University, and of course Marty De Castro from St. Teresa's College. Guys, thank you very much for joining us today, and congratulations on being elected president of your respective SSGs. It's going to be a long year ahead of you, so we wish you all the best of luck.
Thank
There
you.
you have it. The voices of the youth in today's The Freeman Conversations. I'm Joe Burr. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time.